Hi folks, welcome back. So today we're doing Ginger, Sit, Stay, Roll Over. Did I say that in an authoritative enough voice? Probably. I mean, I have a big German Shepherd that, you need to make sure you don't show any weakness around the big lad. Sit, stay, good boy. Unfortunately, he's at the vets today, getting a bit of work done. He's getting an MOT done. Poor lad hasn't been too well, so wish him the best. Hopefully, we'll get to pick him up later on this evening. So this request comes in from one of my VIP patrons. If you'd like to get a guaranteed reaction request, Patreon is the place to be. If you want to join at one of the lower tiers available, you'll also get to view the content ahead of YouTube, and you'll also have the opportunity to vote in monthly polls. So you can still get a bit of a say in terms of what we're going to do here. I also want to say a thank you to everybody who's been purchasing my music on Bandcamp. That's really, really kind, and it's great to know that some of you guys are checking out my stuff. A lot of work went into it, so thank you very much. So without further ado, let's get back onto the Ginger journey. Here we go. German Shepherd. This is great. Whew, I feel out of breath after that. That was intense. First of all, I didn't realize how much I needed Tatiana with dreadlocks and a denim jacket. Thank you for that. That was great. Second of all, sit, stay, roll over prompted me to talk about my dog, who's a German Shepherd. And then we see a couple of gorgeous German Shepherds in here looking all threatening and stuff like that. Now, if you're like me and you've had a German Shepherd since it was this size until it's the size which it's basically the same size as you, huge dog. I'll maybe stick a photo in here of me and him, and then you realize they're just big cuddly bears, you know. At least they are to me. Anybody who wants to come in through the door who isn't welcome, he might not be. I don't know. Fortunately, we haven't had to test that out yet. Right, so the music. So it's interesting. Obviously, I'm working my way backwards here with Ginger now, because it's been Wallflowers and a couple of the songs, you know, pre-Wallflowers where it's all Vlad on drums. So I've had it's a second, maybe third, I think it's maybe a second video I've done with a different drummer. Dimitri, isn't it? Now, this guy is a shit hot player in his own right. There's no denying that whatsoever. This guy is a seriously talented drummer as well. But what's standing out to me, based on the more recent Ginger stuff, as something that I don't like as much, if I'm being totally honest, is the production on this one. The drums sound a bit more clinical, and sort of flatlined. You know, they don't have the same. They're very compressed and don't have the same dynamics. I'm sure that's a very conscious decision on Vlad's part, the way he wants his drums to sound, or at least with the engineer, whatever way they've worked in the studio. But there's a very organic, raw sound to Vlad's playing that I think lends itself really well to Ginger. And I think what it does is it sets him apart a little bit from a lot of the other bands that are doing similar things and have a similar production going on. It was only one of the many aspects I loved about Wallflowers and that recent stuff of theirs, was that they sound like a unique band. You can still hear it here, you know, you can hear it, but it's kind of shrouded within the sort of production techniques that are a bit more generic in terms of metal bands. So that's something that I'm glad that as they've gone further, they've broken away from that. Slightly less identity compared to where they are now, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. The vocals were ridiculous. The screams in this have to be some of the most intense ones. You know, I'm not saying something because everything I've listened to her do, she always kind of, you know, blows me away with what she's doing, you know, with so much emotion in her voice. But there were particular moments near the end of that song, I think it was, that I was like, it feels like she's got even more of a reserve. You know, you haven't heard everything from her. So superb. We'll maybe run it back through again anyway. Sure, it's only 4 minutes long. And any thoughts that come to me, I'll maybe talk over it or pause it briefly and give you some thoughts as we go. Oh, face melting. So straight away, do you hear the way everything's drip fed in there? Vocals distorted, bass, guitar, everything. Kind of feel like at that point, if Vlad had been involved, that riff would have moved on. I don't think it would have repeated again there. Superb. Eugene slapping. Straight up thrash. I also feel that Eugene's guitar tone here is definitely a little bit more generic. Not Eugene. Roman's guitar tone is a little bit more generic as well. Again, I don't know now what specific model or whatever he's been using recently. I can see actually Eugene's playing, it looks like a Warwick bass. Looks really similar to the bassist in our band that plays. Yeah, I think it actually might be the same bass. Very, very similar. Anyway, the guitar tones sound, I don't know whether he's using active pickups or what he uses exactly here. I don't want to make a fool of myself, but there's something kind of harsh sounding about the guitar that, you know, I get what they're going for. It's aggression and all the rest of it, but the more recent stuff of the guitar, there's a rounder sound to the distortion that it's still aggressive, but it's less harsh on the ears. So just thoughts. Superb vocals. It's these moments here that any band would give their right nut to be able to play. To be able to do. This is why Ginger is so versatile. Tatiana just elevates everything, let's be honest, with the versatility in her voice. You know, nobody's replaceable in a band. You know, even if you're an instrumental musician, everybody has their own characteristics in the way they play and how they're involved in the band, what the band do. Case in point, Mike Portnoy, Dream Theater. You know, he wasn't just a drummer. A guy had a lot of say in terms of arrangements and so on. So everybody has their own thing. But just think about how the band can come out of that aggressive stuff, you know, where other bands, like I say, those death metal bands will have the blast beats, they'll have the riffs, they'll have the screaming. But then this section here just sets them completely apart. Loving the bass here. Sick drum fills. That's some sick riffing. So nice beat change on there. So you can hear it's still the same riff there, and the drums mixing it up a little bit. He only did it once. The thing that stood out to me that time, there was a little rake on the guitar. I don't know why I'd try and mimic this. You know, this sort of scrape pick noise on the guitar there with Roman. Sick drumming there. What a handsome dog. Beautiful. Those vocals go so well over that blast beat. Like, I mean, that's like two completely different worlds. I can imagine those vocals completely lifted out of that and put into, you know, instrumentation where there's nothing heavy whatsoever, and it would just sit perfectly on that as well. Just completely blends with that really heavy blast beat stuff. Bit of a Gwen Stefani thing going on here with the vocal. Early No Doubt stuff. Love the way the slapping on the bass there is going in time with the snare drum. That's really groovy riff. He's a good boy. He's being screamed at and he's just sitting with a big smile on his face. A bit like me. Nice use of atmospheric effects, sir. Like, I would never ever, say that this is straightforward, because it's not. But I can hear that it's I can't back myself into a corner. It's more straightforward compared to what they have been doing recently. I could see this kind of stuff going down really well with a live crowd, because they've got the sort of those drops and things like that built in. The pacing of this is like, it's all kind of stuff that always works. I feel like what they've been doing recently is moving. I don't know. I could be off on this, but I would suspect that the transition and what they've been doing with some of their stuff on Wallflowers, just based on me listening to a couple of their older songs, have probably been difficult for some fans to get on board with, because I feel that they're moving through sort of more progressive ways of composing songs that probably require you to work a little harder, but it's worth it. So I can enjoy both for what it is. This is still insanely good. Don't get me wrong. I love this. It's just I'm kind of happy where they're going. Just makes them stand out even more. That's all. Triplet double kick. Screaming. And they keep giving you. One of the things I said about in the very first Jinjer one I did was Pisces live session, and the thing that stood out to me at the end was I was like, no, don't stop. It kind of like I was on it so much, it was like I didn't want it to end. I feel like with this one here, they're like, okay, there's your dessert as well. Would you like a coffee with that? Riffs for days. The dog actually looks a bit like my dog. I mean, again, don't forget, now I'm talking about Vlad. I definitely have a serious man crush on Vlad, because Vlad is exceptional. This guy is also an exceptional drummer. Vlad just has a little extra something for me, for my taste. But if you listen to the complexity of the drumming going on there, it's seriously good. The way he's blending between those that sort of staggered double kick pattern into the blast beats, out of them, back into the groove. The drumming there is really sophisticated. Yeah. It's the same riff from the start, isn't it? This time with a slow groove instead of with the blast beats. So kind of what I predicted way back when I started listening to Jinjer, a couple of videos in, I remember saying something along the way about getting the feeling that this band doesn't have a weak song. So far, I'm yet to find it. And even whenever I listen to something like that one and think, I probably prefer what they're doing now. I mean, that's because, I probably thought of Wallflowers as the best, certainly one of the best, but maybe the best album of the whole year. So it's gonna be difficult for anything to stand up to that, even Jinjer themselves, because they've knocked it out of the park. That's a 10 out of 10 album for me, and I don't give out 10 out of 10s very often. I could probably count in both hands what a 10 out of 10 album is. So I still love this. This is still seriously hot stuff. Still brilliant. Thank you very much for the request. Hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye.